I went to the Eras tour this weekend and we've got to talk about it. Okay, this Sunday I went to Indianapolis. It was night 3 of the Eras tour there, and I had such an amazing time. I had never been to Eras tour. A lot of my Swiftie friends who are now mutuals of mine over on TikTok, they've been to Eras 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 times, okay, in many, many different cities with different people. So they have gotten to see the development of the show. They saw it before TTPD got added. They saw it before she started announcing re-records. And since then, they've seen it in Europe. They've seen it here. This is my one and only Eras tour experience. And I'm so happy that I got it in, because we were coming down to the wire. She's got 5 shows left. And I actually was able to go because someone who follows me on TikTok sold me her ticket, reached out, DM'd me. This was months and months ago, and said, I can't go anymore. I'll sell you mine at face value. And she did. She didn't mark it up at all. And so I went, because she only had one ticket. I was by myself, but I didn't feel like myself because I met so many amazing people. First of all, a few people recognized me from TikTok, which was quite fun. But also my seatmate, who didn't recognize me from TikTok, just ended up being awesome. She and I loved it and just were chitting and chatting throughout the night. And between that and the friends I made along the way, I really didn't feel alone, but it was such a special experience. And I thought I would just highlight some of my favorite things that happened while I was there. Okay, so number 1, walking into the stadium, and I'll include a quick little clip I took. I was so blown away by the size of this thing. And I think maybe part of it was because I had floor seats. So I was walking in at the floor level and looking up at everything. I don't think I've ever had that experience in a stadium. It was unreal. I just remember, and I think in the video I'm even saying oh my God, because I just felt like a tiny, tiny little ant, and I just felt dwarfed by the whole thing. And I've been to concerts before, obviously. Beyonce is the artist I've seen the most, but either I have not been to a stadium as big for Beyonce, or because I wasn't entering at the ground level, I didn't understand the scale of it. I don't know, but I will tell you, I was blown away. And maybe part of it also is because it has a ceiling, so I don't know if that just made it that much easier to really understand the top, like where the top was. But I got to tell you, I was blown away by it. And something about it just kind of brought home for me how momentous this moment was. Something about the scale of it. I don't know. It's hard to explain. But walking in, seeing how big it was, just how many people were there and so excited, it made me feel like I was a part of something big. And that was special for me. So I loved that moment. Okay. The second thing I loved was all of the outfits, because people who have been fans of Taylor's far longer than I have, they have, an encyclopedic history of all the outfits she's worn in the various videos. So people are kind of mimicking that. And I don't know. So I remember I saw a bunch of different people wearing an outfit combo that was plaid pajama pants and a white shirt of some sort. And a lot of people had written on the shirt or whatever. And the first time I saw people wearing it, I was like, oh, okay, cute. We coming casual to the Eras tour. It was cute. But then I kept seeing other people do kind of a play on that. And I was like, okay, this is a thing. And I finally asked, because the 2 girls who ended up sitting to my left both were doing the pajama pant, white top situation. I finally asked them, can I ask you, what is this? Is this from a video? What is it? And they were like, it's from You Belong With Me. And they were so excited. They were quite young. They were so excited. And I was like, oh, amazing. I love it. I haven't seen that video since '08. And I barely remember watching it then, so it did not click for me. But that was fun, and just seeing all the other things. Oh, one girl I met, her name was Parody. Oh, she was amazing. She was so fun. She was in front of me in the bathroom line, and she had on the outfit that Taylor just wore in her video where she was back at the office, that kind of marigold sweater and wide leg jeans. So she was in front of me, and she kind of had blonde hair too. And so I tapped her just to tell her love your outfit, because, I did recognize where that one was from. So I was like, I just want to tell you, I love your outfit. She turned around and she goes, oh my God, you're KJ. You're from TikTok. And I was like, yeah. She's like, I love you. I'm obsessed with you. I listen to your podcast. So that was a really, really fun moment, because I was tapping her to compliment her. And then she was like, girl, I love you. And the fact that she said she listened to the podcast, I was like, oh, you're a real one. You're a real one. So that was amazing. And of course, we traded friendship bracelets and chatted with her friend as well. And it just was a beautiful moment. But yeah, seeing all the different costumes, not costumes, outfits that people chose and kind of to pay homage to Taylor and to her eras, I thought was just really, really fun. I was not that creative. I wore my Taylor Swift t-shirt that Disney Plus actually gave to me. Which I thought was still festive, you know, but clearly not nearly as creative as everybody else. But I did love that. Again, it just sort of made it feel like this community thing that we were all doing together. And the community of it all was honestly my favorite part. Obviously, the show is amazing, and I'll talk about my favorite parts of the show. But I feel like the community of it was my favorite part of it all. Feeling like I was in community and kind of recognizing how this community has been with me over the last year on my journey becoming a Swiftie. So yeah, love that. Love that. Okay, so now let's talk about the show itself. My favorite era and my favorite part of the show was definitely Tortured Poets Department, because I kept myself from looking at TTPD era stuff on TikTok, like an online. Whenever it would show up on my screen, I would scroll real fast, because I was like, no, this is going to be the part that I save for myself. Because obviously I had watched eras in December when it came out on Disney Plus. That is, or not on Disney Plus. What was it on at that point? Amazon? I don't know how I watched it in December, but the point is I watched it back in December. So that's how this all got started. But Tortured Poets Department was not a part of that version. So I was like, I'm going to save this so it's all new. And I'm so glad that I did, because it was all new. And it just was so good. And I personally felt like she put a little something extra in those songs in terms of singing those songs. Like, Who's Afraid of Little Old Me? Ooh, I felt that one. And Smallest Man Who Ever Lives? Yes, I felt that. And getting to sing Lights, Camera, Bitch, Smile. Ooh. I wanted that. I wanted that moment for myself, and I got it. And so that was by far my favorite era. It just was so fun to see live after having spent the last several months like singing those songs on repeat, singing them in my car, singing them at the piano. Like it's a beautiful album. It's such a well-written album. And so to get to see her do it live was everything. The other part of the show that, of course, I loved was getting to see her sing Champagne Problems live, because that is the song that kicked off my Swiftie journey. It is such a special song to me because it's the first one I fell in love with. So getting to see her sing it live was really amazing. She also took like a really extended, almost like bow curtain call sort of thing right after that song, where the crowd really was just applauding forever and ever, and she was kind of soaking it in. So that felt really special to me personally, because I love that song so much. And yeah, just getting to see her sing it live and play it live, that was definitely a highlight for me. Oh, another highlight was Reputation, not only because that's my favorite era. Folklore is my favorite album. Reputation is my favorite era. So just the excitement of when Reputation was coming, but also because my one piece of clownery was that I did think she was going to announce Rep TV. And of course she didn't, but living in those moments for like that, call it 20, 30-second period while the snake was zooming around and thinking like, oh, she's about to come out and drop the announcement, like living in that excitement it was fun. I've never gotten to do that live. So I loved it for the excitement of it and the anticipation of it. But then also just even when she didn't announce it, Rep was also just like such a cool era. Oh, I will also say, and this might just be because of where I was sitting and who I was sitting with, but I was a little nervous that all I would hear during the show was like scream singing. And I do not begrudge anyone for scream singing, okay? You're at a concert, you get to scream sing if that's what you want to do. But I typically, I sing along, but I try to do it in a way where, everyone around me can still hear what's happening on stage. And I feel like that was the vibe for everyone in my little section. I did not feel like it was, so much scream singing that I couldn't hear her and hear the show. And I was a little bit nervous about that because I have seen some people post online, like they'll post their video and the whole video is just someone screaming right next to them, just like, champagne problem, you can't hear her sing. So I would say a highlight for me was shout out to my section, floor section G. We did it right, okay? Because I could hear it all. I could hear the whole show, but we were still singing along and still having a great time. So yeah, shout out to us. G Unit. That's funny. I literally just, no one said that, okay? I want to be clear. I just said that. No one else said that. G Unit. Anyway, the final thing I will say about the show that I really loved was that I did not feel alone. And I know I mentioned this, but it's a little scary to go do something by yourself, particularly something in a stadium of 70,000 people in a city I don't live in. But I didn't feel alone. It really didn't feel that way. I didn't feel weird. I didn't feel lonely. I felt like I had friends. I felt like we were all sort of in it together. And that made it a really special experience and one that I'm really happy that I got to experience for her final show in the US for Eras Tour, which, after in 2 weeks, there will be no more Eras Tour dates. And so getting to not only do it, but also to feel like I had people around me that made me feel comfortable and safe and happy, that was just really nice. So all in, it was a beautiful show. I am so grateful I got to have that experience. I loved every minute. And I hope if you wanted a chance to go to Eras, you got to go as well. I would love to hear all about what was your favorite part? What did you love? What are you going to miss once the show is gone? Let me know in the comments, and I'll see you next time.